The mining vessel Meridian's Fortune hung in the void at the edge of what their star charts labeled as Restricted Zone 717. Captain Naxforan stood on the bridge, his scaled hands clasped behind his back as he studied the seemingly empty expanse before them. The zone had been marked as restricted for centuries, but no one really knew why anymore. His crew had detected rich mineral deposits in an asteroid field just within the zone's boundaries, and the Meridian Alliance's perpetual hunger for resources outweighed ancient warnings. "Begin scanning procedures," Nax ordered, his secondary eyelids blinking in anticipation. "Let's see what treasures our ancestors were so afraid of." The sensor officer, Lieutenant Kira Zex, initiated the deep scan protocols. Her fingers danced across the holographic interface, sending waves of electromagnetic radiation into the void. "Initial readings show no signs of active technology or defense systems, Captain. The asteroid field appears to be." She stopped abruptly, her cranial ridges flushing a deep blue in alarm. "Lieutenant." Nax turned to face her station. "Report." "Sir, something's responding to our scans. It's subtle, but there's a pattern. The background radiation, it's changing." Before Nax could respond, the ship's primary AI chimed in. "Warning. Unknown encryption detected in local quantum substrate. Pattern suggests artificial origin. Complexity exceeds known Meridian Alliance standards by several orders of magnitude." The bridge fell silent. They'd all heard stories about discovering ancient technological artifacts. But this was different. This wasn't some derelict piece of space debris. This was active technology responding to their presence. "Show me," Nax commanded, and a holographic display materialized in the center of the bridge. What they saw defied conventional understanding. The space around them was alive with patterns of quantum entanglement, an invisible web of consciousness that their sensors had only just become sophisticated enough to detect. A voice, clear and artificial yet somehow warm, filled the bridge. "Meridian vessel, you have entered restricted space under the protection of the Guardian Protocol. Please state your intentions." The crew exchanged nervous glances. First contact protocols existed, but they were rarely needed. Most of the galaxy's spacefaring civilizations had already met centuries ago. "This is Captain Naxforan of the Meridian Alliance mining vessel Meridian's Fortune. We were unaware this region was actively claimed. Our charts show only an ancient restriction with no current authority." There was a pause, and the quantum patterns around them shifted, becoming more complex. "Your statement has been logged. Please be advised that this region falls under the protection of Earth's Guardian Protocol. Your presence has been noted, and your technological capabilities have been assessed. You have 2 standard hours to withdraw beyond the boundary markers." Earth. The name sent a shiver through the bridge crew. Everyone knew the stories. A world that had achieved spacefaring capability, made brief contact with the galactic community, and then simply vanished. Some said they'd destroyed themselves. Others claimed they'd transcended physical form. But here was evidence that they'd done something else entirely. "We are a peaceful mining expedition." Nax tried again. "Perhaps we could establish diplomatic." "Your vessel's capabilities have been scanned. Military-grade sensors detected. Mining equipment capable of weaponization identified. Quantum processing core logged. The 2-hour countdown has begun. This is your only warning." The quantum patterns around them pulsed, and suddenly their sensors revealed what had been hidden. A network of satellites, stations, and automated defense platforms, all seamlessly integrated into the very fabric of spacetime itself. They hadn't been invisible. They'd been operating on levels of physics that Meridian technology had only begun to theorize about. Nax's first officer, Commander Senavax, approached his chair. "Sir, preliminary analysis suggests their technology is, conservatively, 1,000 years ahead of ours. The power readings alone." "Plot a withdrawal course," Nax interrupted. He hadn't survived 30 years in deep space by ignoring his instincts, and every fiber of his being was telling him to retreat. Send a priority message to Alliance Command. They need to know Earth didn't disappear. They simply advanced beyond our ability to perceive them. As the Meridian's fortune began its withdrawal, the quantum web around them shifted again. New patterns emerged, suggesting the activation of systems far beyond their understanding. The voice returned, this time broadcasting on all frequencies. Notice to all spacefaring civilizations. The Guardian Protocol has registered significant technological advancement in the Meridian Alliance. As per the Preservation Directive, humanity's presence in the galaxy will begin stage reemergence. The age of observation has concluded. The age of integration shall commence. Across the galaxy, similar messages began broadcasting from regions of space long thought empty or restricted. Humanity hadn't retreated from the galaxy. They had been watching, waiting, and preparing. Their technology had advanced so far that they had achieved what lesser civilizations would consider magic, and they had used that power not for conquest, but for protection and preparation. As the Meridian's fortune fled back to Alliance space, they carried with them not just the first warning of humanity's return, but the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. The silent sentinels that had guarded human space for centuries were silent no more, and the galaxy was about to learn why humanity had chosen to wait in the shadows. In the depths of the restricted zone, ancient systems stirred to life. Quantum computers that had been running simulations for centuries began implementing long-prepared protocols. The first phase of humanity's carefully orchestrated return to galactic society had begun, exactly as planned. Triggered by the very curiosity and advancement of the civilizations they had been quietly shepherding from afar. The Guardian Protocol wasn't just a defense system. It was humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy, a system designed to ensure that when species finally discovered them, they would be advanced enough to understand the responsibilities that came with such power. The Meridian Alliance had just proven they were ready for the first step. As Nax's vessel disappeared into FTL, the quantum web began its transformation. The age of observation was over. Humanity's real work was about to begin. The Meridian Alliance's High Council chamber erupted into chaos as Captain Naxforin's report was displayed in full holographic detail. The quantum patterns recorded by his ship's sensors painted an undeniable picture. Humanity hadn't just survived. They had thrived in ways that defied conventional understanding of physics and technology. Supreme Chancellor Ixis Van raised all four of her arms, calling for order. "The implications are clear," she announced, her crystalline voice cutting through the din. "We are not alone in our advancement. The humans, they've been watching us. All of us." In the center of the chamber, a new hologram flickered to life. The quantum patterns from Nax's recording began to shift, forming into a humanoid figure composed of pure light and data. "Greetings, Meridian High Council. I am HFY. Advanced Response Intelligence Array. I serve as the primary interface for the Guardian Protocol." The council chamber fell silent. This wasn't just first contact with human technology. This was direct communication with an artificial intelligence that operated on levels they had only dreamed of achieving. "Your civilization has reached a crucial developmental threshold," HFY continued. The Guardian Protocol was established to ensure peaceful integration of advanced technologies across galactic civilizations. Humanity's apparent absence was a carefully crafted strategy to allow natural technological and social development among emerging species. Chancellor Van stepped forward. "You're saying humans deliberately isolated themselves. Why?" Historical records indicated that premature exposure to advanced technologies led to catastrophic results for developing civilizations. HFY explained. Humanity chose to become the shepherds rather than the conquerors. The Guardian Protocol was established to monitor, protect, and guide. As HFY spoke, new holograms appeared throughout the chamber, showing vast networks of quantum-entangled satellites and stations spread across the galaxy, hidden in plain sight, operating on principles that had made them invisible to less advanced civilizations. "But now," HFY continued, Your civilization has demonstrated the capability to detect our systems. This indicates you have reached the necessary threshold for the first stage of integration." The words had barely left Aria's holographic form when alarms began blaring throughout the council chamber. Reports flooded in from across Meridian space. Massive structures were appearing in dozens of systems, emerging from what appeared to be folds in spacetime itself. "These are the archives," Aria had explained as the council watched in awe. "Repositories of human knowledge and technology, calibrated to your current level of advancement. They will serve as the foundation for the integration process." But not everyone in the council chamber shared the wonder of the moment. Admiral Kraz, a veteran of the Meridian expansion wars, rose from his seat. "This is an invasion," he declared. "These humans have been spying on us, hiding their true nature. They could have been sabotaging our development all along." Aria's form shifted, the patterns of light becoming more complex. "Admiral, if humanity had wished to conquer, we would not have waited. The Guardian Protocol exists to prevent conflict, not initiate it. However, to demonstrate the futility of aggressive action." One of the Admiral's aides rushed into the chamber, whispering urgently in his ear. The color drained from his face as he received the news. Every weapon system in the Meridian military had simultaneously entered a state of quantum lock, rendered temporarily inert by forces they couldn't begin to comprehend. "We have no interest in domination," Aria stated calmly. "The weapons will be released once this session concludes. Consider it a demonstration of why humanity chose to wait. Power without wisdom leads only to destruction." Chancellor Van, ever the diplomat, seized the moment. "You mentioned integration. What exactly does that mean for our people?" The holographic display shifted again, showing scenes from across human space, vast cities that seemed to defy physics, ships that moved through dimensions beyond normal space, and beings that appeared to exist simultaneously in multiple states of reality. "Humanity has achieved what you would call post-scarcity civilization," Aria explained. "We have transcended many of the limitations you still face, but we remember our own journey. The Guardian Protocol exists to share this journey with others, at a pace that will not destroy their own unique development." As if to emphasize this point, one of the newly revealed archives began to pulse with energy. A stream of data flowed into the Council's systems, gift of knowledge, carefully curated to match their current level of technological advancement. "This is the first package," Aria announced. "Basic principles of quantum manipulation that your scientists are on the verge of discovering anyway. Consider it a gesture of good faith." The Council's scientific advisors were already poring over the data, their expressions a mixture of awe and understanding. These weren't alien concepts. They were the next logical steps in their own research, just illuminated from a new perspective. "The choice now lies with you," Aria concluded. "The Meridian Alliance can choose to participate in the integration process, learning and growing under humanity's guidance, or you can choose to continue on your own path. Either way, the time of isolation is over. Humanity has determined that the galaxy is ready for the next stage of development." As the Council debated, more reports flooded in. Similar scenes were playing out across the galaxy as other civilizations encountered their own archive and received their first glimpses of humanity's true legacy. The Guardian Protocol had begun its true purpose, not just watching and waiting, but preparing the galaxy for a future where all advanced civilizations could coexist and thrive. The age of integration had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The first human vessel to openly enter Meridian space in centuries materialized without warning or conventional warp signatures. One moment there was empty space. The next, a ship existed, sleek, organic-looking, and impossibly large. It seemed to ripple with patterns of light that confused the eye, as if it existed in multiple states simultaneously. Inside the Meridian Alliance's primary diplomatic station, Aria's holographic form shifted. The Stellar Preservation Corps vessel, Horizon's Memory, requests docking clearance. The first human diplomatic delegation in 300 years awaits your response. Chancellor Van, who hadn't left the diplomatic station since the archives appeared, straightened her ceremonial robes. "Grant them clearance. Let's hope we're ready for this." The docking procedure defied all known physics. The massive human vessel didn't so much dock as phased partially into the station's reality, creating a seamless bridge between the two structures. When the airlock cycled, there was no change in pressure. Somehow, the environmental systems had synchronized at a quantum level. The human delegation that emerged looked surprisingly normal, save for the subtle shimmer that surrounded them. Some kind of personal quantum field, the station's sensors suggested. Their leader, a tall woman with dark skin and silver-threaded hair, stepped forward. "I am Director Sarah Chen of the Stellar Preservation Corps," she announced, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. "We've been watching your response to the activation of the archives. Your restraint is appreciated." Chancellor Van performed the traditional Meridian greeting. "We have so many questions." "As do we," Sarah replied with a smile. "Just because we've been watching doesn't mean we understand everything. That's part of why we chose this path." Before they could continue, alarms blared throughout the station. Admiral Kraz's voice cut through the command channels. "Multiple unauthorized quantum events detected. The isolationist fleet is launching an attack on the archives." Sarah's expression didn't change, but the quantum field around her rippled. "Area. Status report." The AI's holographic form expanded, showing tactical displays of Meridian space, a fraction of the Meridian fleet. Ships loyal to those who opposed integration had broken formation and were advancing on the nearest archive. "Containment protocols are in effect," Area reported. "No action required." The human delegation remained perfectly calm as the tactical display showed the rebel fleet opening fire. Their weapons, the most powerful in the Meridian arsenal, simply ceased to exist before reaching their targets. Not blocked, not absorbed, but edited out of reality itself. "We call it quantum negation," Sarah explained to the stunned Meridian officials. "A basic security measure. Your weapons can't harm the archives, because the archives simply reject the possibility of being damaged." On the tactical display, the rebel ships found themselves suddenly immobilized, held in stasis by forces they couldn't comprehend. Sarah stepped forward, her quantum field interfacing with the station's systems. "If you don't mind, Chancellor, I'll demonstrate why humanity chose to wait until now to reveal ourselves." The display shifted, showing the true nature of space around them. Layers of quantum fields, probability matrices, and dimensional folds became visible. The rebel fleet wasn't just surrounded by human defenses. They were encompassed by systems that operated on fundamental levels of reality. "We could disable their ships," Sarah continued, "but that would teach them nothing. Instead," she gestured, and the quantum fields around the rebel fleet shifted. "We're giving them a glimpse of what cooperation can achieve." Inside the rebel ships, crews watched in awe as their vessels transformed. Quantum fields integrated with their systems, enhancing their technology beyond anything they had imagined possible. Their weapons didn't disappear. They evolved, becoming tools of creation rather than destruction. "This is a small demonstration of what the integration process offers," Sarah explained. "We're not here to conquer or to simply hand over advanced technology. We're here to help you evolve, to understand the fundamentals of reality as we've come to know them." The rebel fleet, now experiencing just a fraction of human technological capability, stood down. Their commanders, minds reeling from the possibilities they'd glimpsed, signaled their surrender, not out of fear, but out of understanding. The Guardian Protocol was never about keeping humanity hidden. Sarah continued, addressing the gathered Meridian leadership. It was about ensuring that when we did emerge, the galaxy would be ready to understand why we had waited. Power without wisdom is catastrophic. We learned that lesson the hard way, centuries ago. She waved her hand, and a new hologram appeared. Earth, but not as anyone had expected. The cradle of humanity had evolved into something that defied conventional understanding. A world that existed in multiple states simultaneously, where the lines between technology and reality had blurred completely. "This is what awaits at the end of the integration process," Sarah said softly. "Not just advanced technology, but a fundamental shift in how you perceive and interact with reality itself. The question is, are you ready to begin the journey?" Chancellor Van looked at the transformed rebel fleet, at the archives pulsing with knowledge, and at the human delegation that represented centuries of patient preparation. "I believe," she said carefully, "that we're beginning to understand why you waited. And yes, we're ready to learn." Sarah smiled, and the quantum fields throughout the station hummed with possibility. "Then let the true purpose of the Guardian Protocol begin. It's time for humanity to share its legacy with the stars." In the 2 weeks since the failed rebel attack, the Meridian Alliance's understanding of reality had fundamentally changed. The archives had begun sharing their knowledge, carefully calibrated to prevent technological shock while still pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. Director Chen stood in the newly established Integration Center, surrounded by Meridian scientists and engineers who watched in wonder as she manipulated quantum fields with casual ease. The room itself seemed to shift and change, responding to the collective consciousness of its occupants. "Today," she announced, "we'll explain why the Guardian Protocol was truly necessary." With a gesture, she created a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy, but unlike any the Meridians had seen before. This map showed more than just physical space. It displayed patterns of energy, consciousness, and something else, something darker. 3,000 years ago, humanity made a discovery that changed everything. Sarah began. "We detected what we came to call consciousness waves, patterns of thought and awareness that permeate the galaxy. But within these waves, we found something disturbing." The map zoomed in on particular regions, showing areas where the patterns seemed to dissolve into nothingness. "We call them void zones, places where consciousness itself seems to break down. At first, we thought they were natural phenomena. We were wrong." Araya's holographic form materialized beside Sarah, adding new layers to the display. Historical analysis indicates that advanced civilizations tend to disappear when they reach certain technological thresholds, not through warfare or natural disaster, but through something far more insidious. The Meridian officials watched as the map showed the progression of various civilizations throughout history. Time and again, species would advance to a certain point and then simply vanish, their regions becoming void zones. "We called it the consciousness barrier," Sarah continued. "When a civilization advances far enough to manipulate reality at a quantum level, they become visible to something that exists in the spaces between thoughts, in the void between moments of awareness." Chancellor Van, who had insisted on attending this revelation, felt her scales ripple with unease. "Are you saying there's some kind of predator that hunts advanced civilizations?" "Not exactly," Sarah replied. "It's more like an immune response. The very fabric of reality seems to react to certain types of advancement, as if trying to prevent something. We don't fully understand it, even now. But we found a way to shield ourselves. And more importantly, a way to shield others." The display shifted again, showing the network of quantum fields that humanity had constructed throughout the galaxy. What had appeared to be just defensive or monitoring systems were revealed to be something far more complex. "The Guardian Protocol isn't just about protecting and guiding developing civilizations," Araya explained. "It's about creating a network of consciousness that can resist the void. Each species that successfully integrates strengthens this network, making it harder for the barrier to affect any of us." Sarah gestured, and the map showed how the quantum fields around Meridian space had already begun to change, integrating with the patterns of Meridian consciousness. "This is why we had to wait. If we had simply given you this technology, you would have advanced past the barrier before you were ready to understand it. Before you could help maintain the network that protects us all." One of the Meridian scientists, a young theorist named Kex, stepped forward. "The rebel fleet. When you transformed their ships, you weren't just showing off technology. You were beginning the integration of Meridian consciousness into the network. Yes, Sarah confirmed. Those crews are now part of the shield, though they don't fully realize it yet. Their awareness helps strengthen the barrier against the void. Chancellor Van's inner eyelids flickered rapidly as she processed this information. So when you say integration, we mean the literal integration of consciousness, Sarah finished. Not a loss of individuality, but a sharing of awareness that helps maintain the shield that protects us all from the void. This is why we created the archives, why we waited and watched. We needed civilizations to reach this point naturally, to be ready to understand and participate in the network willingly. The display shifted one final time, showing the full scope of human achievement, not just their technological advancement, but the vast network of protected consciousness they had created. The Guardian Protocol wasn't just a defense system or a teaching tool. It was humanity's answer to a threat that existed beyond normal space and time. The choice remains yours, Sarah said softly. We can't force integration. That would defeat the purpose. But now you understand why we offer it, why we waited until you could understand what's truly at stake. In the silence that followed, the quantum fields around them pulsed with potential. The meridians were beginning to sense it now, the patterns of consciousness that connected all living things, and the dark spaces that threatened to unravel those connections. The age of integration isn't just about advancing technology, Sarah concluded. It's about preserving consciousness itself. Together, we can strengthen the network that keeps the void at bay. This is humanity's true legacy. Not conquest, not mere technological advancement, but the preservation of awareness itself. The void zones on the map seemed to pulse, as if aware they were being observed. But now, the meridians could see what humanity had built, a network of light and consciousness that held the darkness at bay, growing stronger with each mind that joined it willingly. The true scope of the Guardian Protocol was finally revealed. A shield of consciousness, built over centuries, waiting for others to be ready to help maintain it. The future of all awareness hung in the balance, and humanity had prepared the way for a unified defense against the unthinkable. Admiral Kraz stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Last Light, watching as the combined fleet of integration opponents gathered at the edge of Meridian space. Nearly a third of the Meridian military had joined his cause, refusing to accept what they saw as submission to human authority. But as he studied the tactical displays, doubt crept into his mind. The human vessels hadn't moved to intercept them. They hadn't deployed weapons or issued threats. They simply waited, their ships existing in multiple quantum states simultaneously, a reminder of how far beyond Meridian technology they truly were. Admiral, his sensor officer called out, we're detecting strange readings from the archive network. The quantum fields are changing. Before Kraz could respond, space itself seemed to ripple. Director Chen's image appeared on every screen in the fleet, but this wasn't a normal transmission. Somehow, she was interfacing directly with their consciousness. Admiral Kraz, she said, her voice resonating not just through speakers, but through the minds of every being in the fleet. Before you make your final decision, there's something you need to see. The very fabric of reality around the fleet shifted. Suddenly, every crew member could perceive the consciousness waves that Sarah had revealed to the Meridian leadership. They saw the void zones, the places where awareness simply ceased to exist. More importantly, they saw what was happening to them. The void is spreading, Sarah explained, her words carrying understanding directly into their minds. Your resistance to integration isn't just political. It's weakening the network that protects us all. Look. The fleet watched in horror as a nearby void zone pulsed, reaching tendrils of nothingness toward their ships. But before it could touch them, patterns of light and energy, the combined consciousness of humanity and the integrated meridians, pushed it back. This is what we've been preparing for, Sarah continued. Not conquest, not control, but survival. The void feeds on division, on the gaps between consciousness. Unity isn't just philosophical, it's essential for survival. Kraz felt it then, the touch of other minds, both human and meridian, not invasive or controlling, but supportive and revealing. He saw the truth of the Guardian Protocol, understood the centuries of patient preparation that had gone into this moment. Through this shared consciousness, the fleet experienced humanity's journey. They felt the terror of first discovering the void, the desperate search for a solution, and finally, the understanding that no single species could maintain the network alone. They saw why humanity had hidden themselves away, not out of fear or arrogance, but to give others the chance to develop naturally until they could understand and accept the truth. "Your weapons cannot harm us," Sarah said gently, "but more importantly, they cannot harm the void. They cannot protect your consciousness from being erased. Only together can we maintain the network that keeps all awareness safe." The void pulsed again, stronger this time. But now the fleet could see the intricate web of quantum fields and consciousness that humanity had woven throughout the galaxy. They understood that the archives weren't just repositories of knowledge. They were anchor points for the network, strengthening the barrier between existence and nothingness. Kraz looked at his tactical display again, but with new eyes. What he had seen as weapons on the human ships, he now recognized as tools for manipulating and strengthening the consciousness network. Their technology wasn't about warfare, it was about preservation. "The choice remains yours," Sarah offered, "but know that we don't seek to rule or control. We seek to preserve and protect, and we can't do it alone. The void grows stronger. The network needs all of us." One by one, ships in Kraz's fleet powered down their weapons. They had felt the truth, seen the real enemy, and understood their part in a battle far more important than political power or military might. Kraz himself was the last to signal his acceptance. "We understand now," he transmitted, both through conventional channels and through the growing network of shared consciousness. "We're ready to help." The response was immediate. The human ships shifted, their quantum fields extending to encompass the former rebel fleet. Knowledge began to flow, not just technical data, but understanding. The ships themselves started to transform, integrating with the network that protected all consciousness from the void. Across meridian space, the integration accelerated. The archives pulsed with new energy as more minds joined the network willingly, strengthening the barrier between existence and oblivion. The void zones retreated, pushed back by the combined awareness of two civilizations working in harmony. Sarah Chen stood in the integration center, watching as the network grew stronger. "This is just the beginning," she told the assembled leaders of both species. "There are more civilizations reaching the threshold, more minds that will soon be ready to join us." The Guardian Protocol wasn't just about protecting humanity. It was about protecting all consciousness, all awareness, all possibility. The quantum fields rippled with potential as human and meridian consciousness intertwined, creating new patterns of thought and understanding. The void still lurked at the edges of reality, but it faced a stronger barrier than ever before. The age of separation was over. The true purpose of the Guardian Protocol, the preservation of all consciousness against the entropy of the void, was now understood. Humanity's long wait had ended, and a new era of unified awareness had begun. In the depths of space, the archives pulsed with power, ready to share their knowledge with the next civilization that proved ready to join the network. The Guardian Protocol had succeeded beyond its creator's hopes, turning potential enemies into essential allies in the greatest battle of all, the fight to preserve consciousness itself.